We were working on the equipment management application, but like we started with the Firebase SDK, and that was not working so well. So what we are going to do is we are going to actually make the app from scratch, and then we'll just use the Cocoa parts, right? So I've deleted that app over there. So let's actually go and create a new app. Click on app, click on next, and we'll say equipment management. Okay, equipment management, and don't have to worry about this. All of this is storyboard, Swift, and then we'll actually click on next. Okay, we are creating in our folder for the semester. Okay, so equipment management actually starts up. Next, what we'll do is we'll start from the very start. What we'll do is we'll actually add pod files and all this other kind of stuff, right? So we'll right click over here and we'll say show in Finder, and then over here we'll actually say we'll actually have a new terminal at the folder. So we have a new terminal at the folder. Then what we'll do is we'll say pod init, right? Pod init, and pod init should actually open a pod file in this location. So pod file opened. We'll say file open, and then we will actually go and open this pod file. Right, so pod file is open. Next, what we'll do is we'll actually go to firebase.google.com, and we'll sign in, and we'll sign in with an email address. And over here we go to console, and I think you guys actually did that project. You create a project, so we actually created this project. So for you it should be there. What we'll do is we'll actually come over here in the project overview, click over here, go to project settings, and then we will actually look at the app, and we'll remove the previous app, right? So the previous app was not working, so we'll actually remove this app, right? So there's no app at this point attached to our thing. So first thing we'll do is we have to add an iOS app. So we'll click on iOS app, and we need the bundle identifier. So we'll go to our project, and in project, if we have this equipment management over here, and target is this, you can actually see the bundle identifier over here, right? So this is my bundle identifier. I believe you can actually get it from here to signing and capabilities, right? So I copy this, and I'll put this over here, and then I'll say equipment management. Okay, we don't need to have this, but like this, it's okay. So next step is we are downloading the config file. So there should be a config file which is already there from the last semester, from the last thing. We'll actually say search for Google in our downloads. We'll search for Google Service Info plist. We'll actually remove this. So we'll say move this to bin. You need to make sure that there's only the name of the file should be Google Service Info plist. It should not be Google Service Info in bracket 1 plist or 2 plist and stuff, right? So delete anything which is there in the downloads folder, and then click on download. So when you click on download, you can actually see that there's a Google Service Info plist over here, right? So which is showing over here. Next, what we have to do is we have to copy this file and put it next to info.plist, right? So we'll open our application. This is our info.plist, and we will go to Google Service Info, and what we'll do is we'll press the option button and drag and drop this over here, right? So you can see that it actually did not show me any dialog box. Sometimes the dialog box shows up, sometimes it does not show up, but that's okay. You just click on this file, Google Info plist, and then you actually have the equipment management over here, right? So you select this. So select this. What will happen is it is saying that this is the membership. Like I want to go to this one, this project, right? So we actually have Google Service Info plist, and we select this file. So that's the second step that we did. We go to the next. It says that we actually have to, instead of using the package manager, we'll actually use CocoaPods. So I will right click over here, open the CocoaPods. So that is what they are saying. Pod init, we did the pod init. They are saying we need to add all these things, different things, right? So, but we can actually see what are the supported products. So we'll right click and see open a new this. And these are all the products that we can add. So what we are going to add, we are going to add Firebase Analytics. We are going to add authentication. We are going to add real-time database, three things. We'll see if we want to do in-app messaging in later point. We'll actually do that. So these are the 4 different pod files that we'll add, right? So we'll copy these things. So we'll say copy, and we'll go to our pod file. We'll go to our pod file, and we will say paste 1. Firebase Analytics, Firebase Auth. Okay. 2. We are doing Firebase mess. We'll see if Firebase messaging, in-app messaging. We'll actually see later. We'll just add the Firebase database right now. So this is the 3rd thing. So we add 3 things. Okay. Later on, as we need, we can actually add the pod files. So we add these 3 pod files. We close this. And then we go over here and we say pod install. Right. For the M1 computers, M1 and M2 computers, you have to do arch_64 or something like that, like the one which is there in discussions of our class. You can actually, off the canvas, you can actually go there and do that. So we do the pod install. So this will probably take a little bit of time. We'll go next over here in our steps. Okay, so we do all of that. Click on next. It says you have to add the initialization code. We're not doing Swift UI, we are doing Swift. So we'll select Swift over here, right? Probably this will not compile, but since when this thing is actually installing and stuff like that, we will actually my internet is a little bit faster, so I think this should be done pretty fast. Okay, so it's done. Okay, so that part is done. We are very good. So we will come over here, we'll close this project, and then what we'll do is we'll open that folder, and then we'll open the XC workspace. Now we don't work on Xcode project, we work on XC workspace. Okay, so okay, XC workspace, we are good over here. Next, what it says is you actually need to go to app delegate file. That's what it says. Over here, you go to your app delegate file. This is your app delegate file. So we come over here in equipment management, there's app delegate. And over here, what we'll do is we want to add this code, import Firebase core. Import Firebase core. Then over here in the application, we will actually add, Firebase app.configure. Like that. So what does these two means? We are importing the file, the library, and then we are configuring the app. When we call this configure app, what it does is it goes to the Google Service Info plist and picks up the configuration from there, and then says that, oh, now I am supposed to go to this particular project and stuff like that. So that is basically what it is. So we click on next and we say continue to console. So continue to console, we are good over here. Build, we will actually go to the real-time database, and we'll probably create a database too, right? So we create a database and US Central, and we'll click next, and we'll start in the test mode, right? We're not in the lock mode, test mode. Okay, enable. Wonderful. So we are over here. Let's go to the authentication. So in the last time, what we did is we actually had the sign-in methods. Sign-in methods, we will actually select email and password, enable it. And what we did is we actually had a ashish@test.com, and we created a user called ashish@test.com. We can actually delete it, and we can just delete it and add a new user. So I'm adding a new user. I'm saying ashish@test.com and password. Okay, so that's the user that actually get created, right? So that's the user that got created. So we are over here. That is perfect. So our app has access to. So if everything is, press Command B. Command B should actually build the project. And if the project actually builds, then that means that we are good to go, right? So till now we have not done any UI and stuff like that. So what we'll do is we'll start doing some UI part. Okay, so this is our view controller. We'll come over here, we'll click on this view controller, and we'll say editor, and we'll say embed inside a navigation controller, right? So it got embedded inside a navigation controller. We'll click over here, we'll say the title is login, right? Title is login. Okay, very nice. So for login, what we'll do is we want an email, we want a password, we want a button to submit, and we want a status which will actually say that it is like, are you able to, like if you're not able to log in, it'll say that you are not able to log in. So build got succeeded. That is always good. So we'll click on this and we'll say, we'll look for text field. We'll take a text field. We'll put this text field over here somewhere, right? And then we will say that this is in the center, and the placeholder will say this is what do you call email, right? Email. And then we will we'll create another text field and we'll call that as password. Placeholder will say password. Okay, we'll make that center too, and we'll say that this is secure text entry. Okay, two things. The third thing that we will add is a button, and that button will be called as, that button is called submit. Okay, and then we want a label. That label would be your status, right? We'll make this as red, the default color, right? So a red color kind of thing. So what we'll do is we'll take this, we'll put the password smack dot in the middle of the app, and then we will anchor everything around that. So we'll take this password, put it somewhere, anywhere, it doesn't really matter. We'll click on this button and we'll say, I want to place this horizontally and vertically in the container. So this is smack dot in the middle of the container. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next, what we'll say is you are let's say 5 from this side, 10, let's put 10. You are 10 from this side and you are 10 from this side, right? That is good. And your height, let's say, is 35, right? So add all these constraints. So password actually got like this. Then what we'll do is let's put the email. So we'll click on the email and we'll say that email, you are, let's say, 10 points from here, right? 10 or 20, let's put 20 points. So we'll say from the password, which is the nearest neighbor. So you can see that this is the password. So we'll say you are 40 right now. Let's say we put 30. So you're 30 from here, 10 from here, 10 from here, and your height is also 35, right? So you need 4 constraints to make an element so that it will actually be, everything will be good. So your email is done, your password is done. Now we need the submit button. So we'll click on submit and we'll say submit is, let's say, 30 from the password. So we'll click over here and we'll say you are 30 from the password, you are 10 from this side, you are 10 from this side, and your height is 35 too, right? So 4 constraints. So added 4 constraints. So submit is good. And for the status, we'll say you are 30 from here. Oh, sorry. for status, we'll say you will be, let's say 30 from the submit button, and you'll be 10 from here and 10 from here, and you will be, your height will be, let's say 25, right? So add 4 constraints, and for the status, you will actually be the center. Okay, that is very good. And we'll say um, is hidden. So initially it is actually hidden, right? So initially you don't show it up, because like when some person goes over there, they should actually be okay, right? So that is good. For login, we'll say equipment management, equipment, right? Equipment management, that's the title. And then we'll probably have a logo over here and stuff like that, but that's okay. Like we can actually live with this right now. Let's actually come over here and see it in the smallest screen and see how it looks like. So in the smallest screen, it looks halfway decent, and we'll turn around. So we'll turn this around, and this looks okay too. Like over here, this looks okay, right? So we are not going to make any modifications. This is not the UI part of it. We are just going to make sure that everything looks good, right? So that is good. So it looks good in the lowest one. That is generally always the concern, but like after that, it is actually okay. So you can actually just put everywhere. Let's actually just put it in the lowest one. So that is good. I'll stop over here, and then we'll actually move forward for the next video, right? Okay.